My name's Alvin A. Horne. I'm known also as Andy. My last attained rank was as a Navy lieutenant. My crew was a pre-existing crew to begin with, but one or two of them had been in my swift boat class in Mare Island. And one of them was a guy named Randall Holland. Don't know what's become of him. Another was, I'm gonna have to think about that guy's name, but it'll come to me. But that guy was from Coons, Texas, stayed in touch with me every New Year's and Christmas for the next 25, 30 years. He was my GQ driver. I had a gunner's mate named, last name of Hux, H-U-X, and he was from Alabama, and he was good on the 50s. He was my LPO. Again, I don't know what happened to him either. He left country before I left the boat. Holland stayed on the boat at least past that point where the boat was under Mr. Mittendorf's command. I had a variety of enginemen come along. I might have had 4 or 5 enginemen, but we didn't keep the enginemen all that long. Had Vietnamese officers, Trung Nguyen Nham, and Hashi Tong, and Hashi Duc, and Duc was kind of a sunshine patriot. He would sometimes not return back to the boat, but he'd eventually show up when we needed him. So Tong was a very good Vietnamese trainee, very good. But those are the fellows I remember. The others rotated in. I remember getting a guy that came off of PBRs. I will not name him. He liked to wear his black beret. He used pejorative terms towards my trainees. He was essentially worthless to me. And when he would refer to Vietnamese in uncomplimentary terms on this particular patrol, when I got back, I went to my division commander and said, "This guy has to go, I can't have him." And I don't know why we took him. The PBR, somebody was getting rid of him and got rid of him to the Swifts. And he would never even measure up to any of the enlisted guys I knew in my division. So I was happy to get rid of him. There's not one of us in this organization today that doesn't have a fierce affection for our boat. And some of them can't express it. Some of them do it indirectly by the stories they tell. But when it comes down to it, they had strong connections, strong feelings for their boat, particularly if it worked, meaning if the boat could do its job. There were boats that had been, I managed to set maintenance records on my boat. Highest number of hours on an engine without a breakdown. I had an Onan 3 KW that just kept right on to. I mean, John Cameron Swayze would be proud of my gear, but there are other boats that were always having breakdowns of some kind or another. And some of the I'll have to say, I believe that those folks worked harder than they were ever intended to work. And so the breakdowns would have been, higher than normal. Running aground was not an uncommon happening, and so there were those kind of things. But the emotional detachment, I guess if I'd had a crappy boat, I wouldn't have had much, but I didn't, and I always had good people who maintained the gear and excuse me. And I always did maintenance. The PMS, I think, was the program prevailing at the time, called the Planned Maintenance System, which is kind of where you, every so many hours you're supposed to replace this, or every so many days you do that, or 3 months. It was kind of like getting your new car with a pre-planned maintenance schedule. Well, on things such as fuel filters, fuel oil, all of that kind of stuff, and engine oil and all of that, I halved the maintenance time, so that was normal. The end of every patrol, when we were coming in on the transit away from the patrol area, my guys were to do all of their post-patrol stuff, the immediate stuff that was required, but they were to take every one of those PMS requirements and have them. So there was a lot of maintenance done on mine that was preventive. And so I think that's why I got a lot of good stuff. I had my radar go out on me one time after a night insertion. And all I had to follow the guy out was a starlight scope. And I want that.